Titus. Many of you all call me Ty Jack, and I'm doing this video because many of y'all have written me on Facebook or Twitter or MySpace, YouTube, whatever the case may be, about me doing some videos, since I have so many random thoughts that I post on my status updates. At any rate, this video is going to basically talk about gospel music versus secular music versus gospel music, whatever the case may be. I don't have a script. I'm just speaking from the heart right now. And first, I want to talk about Mary Mary. Seems to be a lot of commotion going on about Mary Mary's performance on the BET Awards. And I'm just trying to figure out what that's all about, because clearly Mary Mary are gospel artists. And first of all, let me just say that I'm a music lover, and gospel music is my favorite music, and I love gospel music, and I support the artists. Mary Mary has always represented gospel music in an excellent way, from day one when they first came out up until now. And you don't have to figure out what they're singing about. You know, you listen to the lyrics, and the lyrics are clear that they're talking about God's love, God's Son Jesus, and everyday life issues that we deal with on a regular basis. And it happens to be on hot sounding tracks, hot music. And if the audience or people want to say it sounds secular, oh well, you can't help how the music sounds. I mean, it shouldn't matter how the music or the track sounds. It's just long as the message behind the music. And you know, people have been down in them since day one, when in all actuality, well, I won't say people, I'll say the church. When in actuality, the church is not the reason for Mary Mary's success. And I can say that because if you look at our gospel artists, if you look at their numbers of what they sell, most of them are struggling to do 100,000 units, more or less going gold or platinum, because we won't support them. Now I will, because I go to iTunes and I buy and download their projects, or either I go to Walmart or Target, wherever, and I'll get their CDs. You know, but are we really supporting the gospel community? We have to keep this gospel genre alive for years to come, from decades to decades, as well as generation to generation. And the only way that we're going to do this is by supporting what we already have. Mary Mary is very contemporary, very urban, very trendy. I mean, we're in 2009, and they do a wonderful job of communicating their lifestyles. You know, even back in the 70s, when the Hawkins were in their heyday, they were considered the king and queens of contemporary music. And now, you know, basically 30 years later, they're considered to be traditional artists. So who's to say that Mary Mary 20 or 30 years from now would not be considered to be traditional artists? I just don't understand what the big issue is about them. I mean, and like I said, the church is not responsible for their commercial success, just like the church is not responsible for the commercial success of Yolanda Adams, Kurt Franklin, Donnie McClurkin, and even Marvin Sapp now. You know, these are artists, all these artists have been out for years. A lot of people think that Marvin Sapp and Yolanda Adams just came out. You know, when Marvin Sapp came out with Never Would Have Made It, and Yolanda came out with Open My Heart. People fail to realize these artists have been out for 10, 15 years, each artist having over 8 projects available in the store. You know, and it wasn't until secular radio gravitated to Open My Heart and Never Would Have Made It that the secular community loved it and made it go to #1, so that these artists could have the numbers of having a gold project, and now many of them have gone platinum. Many of them have been able to win the top awards, such as a Grammy Award. And that wasn't because of the church, it was because of the secular community. Because once again, if you go look at some of our artists like the Clark sisters, who are my absolute favorites, the Clark sisters, Vanessa Bell Armstrong, Shirley Caesar, the Winans, you know, even Ty Tribbett, you know, the younger artists, the up-and-coming artists now, Kiera Sheard, they've been successful on the gospel charts, but, you know, most of them have not had the crossover appeal. You know, most of these artists come out of the Kojic, you know, denomination, and Kojic has over 50 million people and it's hard for them, for their artists, to sell 100,000 units. I think something's wrong with that. So that goes to show you that the church really isn't behind in supporting our artists. You know, we may sing their material on Sunday mornings, but do we actually buy it? You know, and how many pastors actually go out and buy CDs? You know, so that's what I mean when I say that the church wasn't really responsible for the success of a lot of these artists who have received mainstream success. And I'm not here to bash anybody or call anybody's names, you know, because that's not what I'm about. I'm just here to bring awareness to it. My other issue that I wanted to talk about was basically, is there really jealousy when an R&B singer decides to become a gospel singer? You know, and I say that because I'll name some names. You had Kelly Price, who came over, who had one of the top selling gospel projects of the year she came out. Dave Hollister, who's recorded 2 successful gospel projects. And then Michelle Williams from Destiny's Child. Both her projects did very, very well as far as numbers. And then Coco did very well from FWB. And I think her project was one of the best transitional projects from an R&B artist to a gospel artist. She was nominated for a Grammy Award, a BET Award, Stellar Award, Dub Award, everything. But, you know, are we really accepting these artists? It's almost like some of the gospel artists get jealous or get a little nervous that they're going to come and steal their limelight. And it's not like these secular artists are coming over the gospel because they're not making money in the secular field, or they're not gigging, or they're not popular. That's not the case. They're doing it because that's in their heart and it's something they feel that God has compelled them to do. But when they finally do, you know, when we hear that they're coming over, we shout and we say hallelujah and we say thank you. Finally, they're doing a gospel project. And then when it drops, we don't want to support it. You know, when the CD finally does drop, it's a bunch of shade. You know, if we hear that they're coming to our city or to our church, we don't want to buy tickets. Or if we do go, we sit there with our arms folded and mouth closed, you know, as if they're not worthy to sing God's praises, or they're not good enough to sing or minister to us. When in actuality, many of these R&B artists that have come back over effectively have been ministering, but we're so closed-minded, we're not letting them do that to us. And then when we hear that they're not going to record another gospel album, we say, oh, I knew they weren't for real, or they were just in it for the money. That's not the case. They're going